YouTube? It's your girl AK, and we are back here with another video. So today we are looking at the yen pairs, 3 yen pairs, right? And we're looking at gold. We're looking at GJ, EJ, and UJ. And then we're gonna look at gold on the higher time frame to kind of get an idea of what it wants to do. These are just my ideas. This is not financial advice. It's just kind of how I see it. I'm just gonna give you different market scenarios because this week the market can go in a lot of different ways. So we're gonna look at everything and try to figure out what's the best option to take for this week. So without further ado, let's get to the video. So as you can see, we are currently on GJ. I just want to look at just overall structure. I'm not gonna look at any like dramas right now. I just want to see where am I on the weekly, daily, and 4 hour. Am I bearish? Am I bullish? Like where am I direction wise? So let's start with the weekly, right? As you can see on the weekly, we are indeed bearish. There was structure right here on the weekly, right? If I jump to a line chart, you can see it. We had these lows that were taken out and we closed below, right? And then the weekly has came back for a pullback. So my weekly is bearish. We just had a pullback. We had a very big rejection candle last week. That can kind of tell you a lot of what may happen this week, right? But we're not gonna jump the gun. I'm just gonna kind of give you a hint that, hey, we're bearish on the weekly and we just retested the weekly level. Just a hint, okay? Let's jump to the daily. Daily, we're actually bullish on the daily right now. So daily, we did drop, but there was a shift of structure right here. You can see it on the line chart, right? Price, we came down, came up a little bit, we came down, right? And then we started shifting bullish on the daily, right? We passed up this high. So this is our new swing high up here. This is our new swing low. You can see it on the candlestick. So we are still in this range, right? So until price actually breaks this level right here, right? This is where the swing low is. Until price breaks this level, we are still bullish on the daily. Now, there's a chance that can be working this week. We're gonna talk about that, but just keep in mind, as of right now, we're still bullish on the daily. 4 hour. 4 hour, we are bearish, right? So 4 hour, as you can see, I'm gonna throw my drawings back on, right? And you can actually see my confirmation chart where we said that the weekly was bearish, the daily was bullish. 4 hour, we were bearish. So at one point, we were making higher highs and higher lows, right? And then price did what? We came down. We failed to make this new high. We actually made a head and shoulders pattern right here, right? And then we sold, right? We sold and made this bearish. So we just broke structure on the 4 hour time frame. So my weekly is bearish, my daily is bullish, and my 4 hour is bearish. So here's the thing, I don't like to trade charts that doesn't have a consecutive bias, right? So what I mean is, if you look at the weekly is bearish, the daily is bullish, the 4 hours bearish. I don't have 2 time frames that are in sync on GJ right now. So I'm not really interested in GJ until 2 things happen. Either my 4 hour has to switch back to bullish, so it'll have to say bullish, bullish. Therefore, we'll have 2 consecutive time frames, right? It will have to say bullish, bullish, or my daily time frame would have to switch to bearish, right? So weekly and daily, 2 consecutive time frames saying bearish, bearish. Then I would then have a sense of direction there, right? But until that happens, I am not really interested in GJ, if I'm being honest. Just judging off of the higher time frame, because we know the higher time frame is king, right? We just said that on the weekly time frame, price, we came and we broke structure, right? Came back to retest, huge rejection candle, right? If you understand like candle patterns, you know usually after a huge doji candle like that, you typically have like an evening star pattern. So typically you would tend to see a, you know, a black candle printed here. So I can kind of anticipate from the candle like what's gonna happen this week just from the weekly time frame. I don't want to jump the gun, right? But I'm kind of anticipating that. But again, I'm not officially gonna switch my bias to bearish until price does what? Until price breaks this daily support. So we have daily support sitting right here, right on the psychological level 210. So I would need to see price basically break structure, so break the psychological level and retest it before I look to target these lows down here. So these are my weekly lows. So if I jump to the weekly, I can draw out my range from the swing high to the swing low with this fib and just show my targets, right? And from here, we can see that price has potential to get to these weekly lows and even further, even to this 27 extension if possible, right? So that's what I'm looking at for GJ. I'm looking to see if price wants to potentially break. So that was scenario A. This is scenario B. Scenario B is, hey, the daily is bullish, right? And we are coming back to retest this level on the daily, right? We basically broke structure on the daily. As you can see, came back and we're retesting this level, potentially go up to this 27. Like that is also another potential case that could happen, right? But again, for this scenario to be true, I need my time frames to be in sync. Right now we have bearish, bullish, bearish. I can't trade that, right? I have to wait for my 4 hour to do what? Well, right now my 4 hour, we're currently retesting this level, right? But we're still making lower low, lower highs, right? So 4 hour, we broke structure, we made a low, lower high, we closed below, made new low. I would have to wait for what? I would have to wait for price to break resistance on the 4 hour, right? Give me a break, and then retest to then look to go up, right? That's the only way I can take buys. My 4 hour has to also shift bullish so I can have those 2 consecutive time frames. Right now I don't have that. So GJ, I'm not really looking at it until my 4 hour either shifts bullish or until my daily decides to break this daily support and then give me the retest and then go down. So that is the only way I can look to take a trade. Price either has to break resistance on the 4 hour, give me the retest to go up, or break daily support on the downside. So that's the only way I can take a trade on GJ. So GJ, not touching it right now. GJ is hands off, okay? Now EJ on the other hand, EJ looks a lot better. EJ looks a lot better. Let me explain why. Weekly time frame, we're bearish, right? So again, we had structure here. Price, we came down, we broke structure. We came up for the retest. And again, we are on this downward motion to create a new low on the weekly. So there is a liquidity right here on the weekly that we're looking to basically come and take out, right? So the daily is bearish. Okay, cool. Okay, daily time frame, we're also bearish, right? So right here, this was the high, this was the low, we broke structure. It was a break of structure right here, right? Price, we came back for a correction, right? Price, we came down, we failed to take out this low, we came up, but we failed to take out this high. So notice here, so I want y'all to notice how these highs are getting lower and lower, right? So right here, this high, it's not breaking this high, right? This high, it's not breaking this high. So price is showing us that it does not want to go any higher, right? The daily is bearish. We broke structure, daily is bearish. So we have 2 consecutive time frames so far, okay? This is my swing high, this is my swing low. Okay, cool. So far, we know that we can target liquidity on the daily, right? We have daily liquidity right here. And then we also have this next psychological level that we can target too. Psychological level 180. So these are 2 targets. If you're feeling ambitious, you can even hold to the 27 extension if you want to, right? But we are bearish on EJ. We're looking for sales. And even if you jump to a 1 hour, even if you jump to a 4 hour, you can see the 4 hour is also bearish. So on the 4 hour, notice right here, we had structure. We were making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, came down, failed to break this high, boom, we broke structure. Came in for the retest, we're dropping. So 4 hours bearish, right? 4 hour, we're making lower low, lower highs, right? So we're already in a motion to sell on the 4 hour, right? We just have to follow the 4 hour trend. So I would look for a potential entry on the 4 hour and then scale it on the 1 hour time frame to see if you can get some sales. But really, we can look to sell from this psychological level to the next psychological level, because a lot of times, like, and I want y'all to pay attention, psychological levels are really great, especially on yen pairs. Price respects it so well, right? When price came up here, we didn't stop anywhere, right? We stopped at this psychological level, right? When price rejected right here, we didn't reject anywhere, we rejected from this psychological level. So price just closed strongly below the psychological level. When price closes strongly below a psychological level, it tells me that we have a lot of strength to go in that direction. So right here, I'm just waiting for a retest, which we're kind of already getting right now on the 4 hour, right? And then from here, you can really sell off of this level onto the next level. So we know that price does not want to break above this level, and we're breaking strongly below. 9 times out of 10, price is going to this next level, right? So this is the great TP area if you are looking to sell on EJ, right? We're bearish in all time frames. EJ looks like the better move for the week, in my opinion. I'm probably gonna look at EJ for this week. So this is UJ. UJ has a completely different story. We're gonna jump to the weekly and then kind of go from there. So weekly time frame, we see what? Okay, well, we just shifted back bullish on the weekly time frame. At one point, we were bearish, right? There was structure here. We came and we broke structure, but check this out. Price on the weekly, we came, we broke structure, right? Came up, made another low, and then we did what? We shot all the way back up here. So we took out these weekly highs. So my weekly is bullish for UJ. Okay, cool. So weekly is bullish. Let's drop down to a daily. Daily time frame, we were also bullish. So daily time frame, this is my swing low. Price, we came down, but we failed to break this low. We never ever broke the low in the daily, ever, right? So we were actually ranging between this daily range for pretty much the whole month of February, right? We were ranging for this whole month. We were ranging, right? We finally broke above this level. We finally broke above this daily high. Since we broke a daily high, that means we are bullish. So we are bullish on the daily. So weekly is bullish, daily is bullish. So I have 2 consecutive time frames. Throw my chart back on. We have that the weekly is bullish and the daily is bullish. Therefore, my bias on UJ is bullish, right? 4 hour, we were also bullish, right? 4 hour, we are making higher highs, higher lows. You can see it pretty obviously that the 4 hour is also bullish. So the bias is to be bullish, right? Now, here's the thing. We are just now making it to this psychological level at 160, right? I said that price was probably going to get to this psychological level a few videos ago, and we eventually did, right? We got to the psychological level. So now we kind of want to watch to see what happens around the psychological level, right? I think UJ could do 2 things, right? We could either break strongly above this level, get a retest, and look to take out these highs. We have highs right here on the weekly. So there's highs up here. There's liquidity that has not been taken out yet, right? We have liquidity sitting up here. So price could give us a retest and then look to take out these highs. Or UJ could do this. UJ could either get to this level, struggle to break it, right? Just a lot of wick rejections, right? And then we come back down to this psych level, right? Why would we come back down to this psych level? Well, if you look on the weekly, it could potentially just be a retest on this weekly level, right? There's a weekly structure right here. So right here, this is where the weekly broke structure. Here's a weekly area of interest, which also lines up with the psychological level 157,500. So price could either, you know, struggle to break above and then come back to this next psychological level. So same thing, psych levels are so important, y'all. Like, check out psych levels. If price can't break a psych level, 9 times out of 10 is coming down to the next psych level, right? Or at least coming down to retest here on the daily, right? So it can either come down to the psych level or right here. And again, I said the price breaks strongly above and retest, that we know it's going for those weekly highs, right? So that's what UJ is looking like. We need to see what it wants to do on this level first, right? Right now it's kind of too early to get in. You don't want to get in while it's overextended, right? You kind of want some kind of pullback anyways. So I wouldn't even look at UJ right now until we get some kind of correction, which we don't have right now. So not really looking at UJ because of that, because we're already extended, right? But EJ looks really good for this week, not gonna lie. So that's probably what I'm looking at for the week. As for gold, I just want to give you like an overall bias. I look at gold as more a position trader than a swing trader, right? So let's look at gold. Okay, so this is gold, right? Gold has been very interesting. So I'm gonna start with just the weekly. Weekly, we're still bullish, okay? Weekly, this is my swing low. This is my swing high. If I jump to a line chart, you can see this is the low. This is the high. It looks like to me that the weekly is coming back to retest these weekly levels, right? See right here, this was the last break of structure. We're coming back to retest that level. Weekly is still bullish. I'm gonna put my drawings back on for a second. So I actually drew a weekly area of interest of like, okay, hey, we're retesting this area, right? I'm looking to see how price wants to react to this area. I also have weekly support drawn right here, right? So we have weekly support right here, okay? As long as price stays above this weekly support, we are still bullish, right? So really and truly, really you want to look at, I'm gonna hide this for a second. Really and truly, you want to pay attention to these body lows, right? If this candle body closes below this candle body right here, right? If this low closes below this low, you know the weekly is not bearish, right? But so far that has not happened. So the weekly is still bullish. Okay, daily time frame. So the daily time frame actually has been ranging for multiple months, right? We've been consolidating and ranging between this range. My daily swing low was here. My daily swing high was here. No candle has closed below this low yet. No candle has closed below this high yet. Therefore, we are in a range. The daily is ranging, right? We have been ranging for months, right? We have not really broken out anywhere in months. Really the whole month of February. So my daily, again, is still technically bullish. Until price breaks this low, I'm considering it bullish, right? Now my 4 hour is bearish. So 4 hour came up, made a high, right? And then we came down and then we eventually closed below this lower high. So 4 hour has broken structure. We are bearish on the 4 hour, right? But my 2 consecutive time frames still say what? Weekly still says bullish and bullish, right? So for me to look for a particular sell on gold, I need to see my 4 hour do what? I need to see my 4 hour switch from bearish to bullish. So I need to see some kind of break and retest off a 4 hour level to push up to make new highs, right? Even though my weekly and daily are still bullish, I have to wait for my 4 hours to get in sync, right? That is how I can get stopped out early, because I'm not waiting for all my time frames to be in sync, right? I need all my time frames to align. So until my 4-hour time frame is in line with my daily and weekly, I'm still sitting on my hands on gold. I can't touch gold right now, right? So really and truly on gold, I'm just looking to see how we're looking to react to this weekly level, right? I do think we are currently retesting this weekly brokering structure. As you can see in the past, we've done that in the past, right? So right here, weekly, right, we came and we broke structure, and then we came back to retest this level, right? And then what we do, we shot up. It happened again, right? Price, we had this big push up, right? We broke structure right here, and then the price came down with this big wick to retest this level on the weekly, and then what happened? We shot up again, okay? It's happening again. Look, price, we broke structure right here. We're up. Right now, we're coming back to retest this weekly level. I'm looking to see, are we gonna get a big rejection to the upside? I'm trying to see like what we're looking at. So again, waiting to see whenever this 4-hour does eventually switch bullish. That's how I know we're ready to make the new all-time high. So usually when the weekly gives us that pullback, that's usually when the next all-time high is like getting ready to be made, right? So right here, weekly, we had a pullback, right? And then boom, all-time high. Weekly pullback, and then boom, new all-time high. Right now, we're having a weekly pullback. Just looking at the pattern, if the 4-hour does what it needs to do, we might have a new all-time high pretty soon. So yeah, I'm just looking at this weekly pullback, waiting for that 4-hour shift, and then I will make my decision from there. But as of right now, I am sitting on my hands on gold. I'm not touching it until we do shift bullish on the 4-hour. So that is basically my analysis on these pairs. As you can see, EJ for me is kind of what I'm looking to trade this week. It just looks the best, right? GJ might give me a setup later on. UJ might give me a setup later on, but EJ looks the best right now. So I'm personally looking at EJ for the week. But I just want to show y'all all different yen pairs just so y'all can make your own analysis, get your own ideas of what you think is better. As for gold, I think gold is going to make its move within the next week or so. We just got to be patient, right? Again, I treat gold more as like a position trader. I like to analyze it more on a weekly, daily time frame to get that overall high time frame analysis. So yeah, that's me. That's my analysis. That's what I'm looking at. Let me know what y'all think. I think it's going to be a great, amazing week, right? Last week, we caught a pretty good move on my Telegram. I even called out that sell on GJ on my Telegram. I personally missed it, but some people caught it in the Telegram, so shout out to y'all. So I'm looking to basically, you know, do some more setups, call out some more setups, and just kind of update my trade as the week goes. So if you're curious about like my trades and how the updates are looking throughout the week, I recommend, you know, checking out the Telegram. The Telegram is free. You can join it, right? You can see my ideas and my current progress in the trade, because usually y'all don't see it until after I'm done with the trade or I'm in the swing trading vlog or whatever. So if you're curious about that, check it out. Let me know what y'all think about this analysis. Give me your ideas. What do y'all think? And yeah, until next time, y'all. Bye.